one more, or what's that? One more shot?
Good evening. Can you hear me out there? Yes, all right, great. Welcome, and we are going to begin this evening in song, so I invite you to turn in your hymnal to number 237, and rise in body or in spirit as we sing the first Noel. Good evening. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas Eve, and welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill Unitarian Universalist. As we're a pretty full house tonight. If you are a person who is an edge sitter, we might invite you to move in to make room on the edge. There's also for people there's plenty of room there's always plenty of room down front in a Unitarian Universalist church. So the front row has got plenty of seats, don't be shy. A special welcome to those visiting us for the first time this evening. Special welcome to those who've brought family and friends, to anyone returning home for the holidays or returning to this beloved community. A special welcome as well to anyone joining the service via live stream. Hi, Mom. We hold worship services every Sunday, and I hope you'll come and join us next Sunday, December 31st, for our last worship service of 2023. Next Sunday, we'll be holding just a single service at the non-standard time of 11 a.m., and my sermon next Sunday is titled, When the Unitarians Encountered the UFOs. So that should really be something. We had a great fall here at the community church, and one of the many highlights from these past few months was a multi-generational cast presenting a dramatic performance of A Wrinkle in Time by the celebrated young adult fantasy writer Madeleine L'Engle. The author of that novel was also a person of faith. Denominationally, she was an Episcopalian. Theologically, she was a Universalist. And I decided that what I wanted to do this evening is base our service around a trio of Christmas poems written by Madeleine L'Engle. And so you can listen to those come through the service this evening. Let us enter into the spirit of worship together. And I invite our worship associate, Larry Ross, to come forward and lead us in the lighting of our Advent candles.
Today marks the fourth Sunday in the season of Advent in the Christian tradition. Each week until Christmas, we have been lighting a new candle on the Advent wreath, symbols of hope, peace, joy, and love. As the season reaches its completion, we prepare for new life to dawn. Our hearts soften and our arms open to embrace its brightness. This evening, we light the fourth candle. We light this candle as a reminder that there is no greater power in the world than love. Through this community, we can become a blessing to one another. Our love is magnified and lives are changed. We can hardly wait any longer for the wonder of love to be revealed. May we risk enough to become vulnerable and welcome holy tenderness.
Good evening, everybody. Glenn encouraged me to say a few words about this piece that I'm about to perform called Joy by George Winston. This is actually not an original composition of his, it's an arrangement of a piece that dates back to 1723 by Johann Sebastian Bach. It was part of an Advent cantata that he had written back then. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this song by George Winston, just listen for it and you might recognize it partway into the piece. Unfortunately, we lost George Winston earlier this year in June. He passed away, unfortunately. So that's why I decided to do this. Thank you.
He did not wait till the world was ready, till men and nations were at peace. He came when the heavens were unsteady and prisoners cried out for release. He did not wait for the perfect time. He came when the need was deep and great. He dined with sinners in all their grime, turned water into wine. He did not wait till hearts were pure in joy. He came to a tarnished world of sin and doubt, to a world like ours, of anguish, shame. He came, and his light would not go out. He came to a world which did not mesh, to heal its tangles, shield its scorn. In the mystery of the Word made flesh, the maker of the stars was born. We cannot wait till the world is sane to raise our songs with joyful voice, for to share our grief, to touch our pain, he came with love. Rejoice, rejoice. Please join me in singing hymn number 245, Stand in Body or Spirit, to sing 245, Joy to the World.
Hello, I'm Mary Hewlett from the Immigrant Justice Initiative. Our collection today is for the benefit of the Immigrant Justice Initiative, and it's appropriate that we are asking for your help for our work with asylum-seeking immigrants on a holiday that honors people who found shelter in a strange place in their hour of need. The children's pageant on the 10th focused on Mary, the mother of Jesus, and focused on her strength. We work with strong women every day. It takes strength to uproot your family and undertake the treacherous journey to a better life. Thanks to the considerable gifts of money, time, energy from so many of you in our congregation and in the other congregations that we work with, we have housed, clothed, fed, provided medical services, helped with asylum applications, applied for work permits for 5 families. We've helped children enroll in school. On our IJI web page, you can find stories about the folks that we've helped and the successes we've had. Our first immigrant, Jamie, won her asylum case, and she's now living in an apartment on her own. Gabby and Oscar And their 2 children, the parents are both working. They both have their work permits. The children are in school. Tanya, who currently lives in the manse, just got her work permit and is now working full-time, and her children are doing very well in school. And right at January, the first week of January, we're going to welcome a new family, Maria and her 2 very young boys. We have had this year our own Christmas miracle. Blanca, who was another one of our immigrants, who's now residing in Charleston with her young son, was able just weeks ago to joyfully welcome her 10-year-old daughter, Tatiana, who had been held in detention at the border. Her 20-year-old son remained in detention, and we did not think that he had a very good chance of being allowed to remain in this country. We, the Immigrant Justice Initiative, paid for a lawyer $2,500 to help him in his credible fear interview, and we found out this Thursday that he won, and yesterday he joined his sister and brother in Charleston. Together we have done so much good, and there are so many more people like Carlos, the son, and the families that we have helped. Please give generously so that we can continue to help the newcomers in our midst who bring their strengths to our community. If you're writing a check, please put STP in the memo line or use the QR code on the back of your order of service to give online. If you're watching from home, scroll down to the quick links at the bottom of the church webpage and choose Donate Now. This evening's offering will now be generously given and very gratefully received.
It's been my tradition that at the first service on Christmas Eve, I'd like to invite us into a meditation of the senses. How many people here are looking forward to Christmas morning, tomorrow morning? A lot of some really high hands up, I see. And it can be hard when we're thinking ahead to that and all the excitement to take a moment now to be a little bit still and to pay attention. And so what I'd like to invite you into is I'd like to invite you in to your imagination and to imagine with me. Sometimes it's easier to imagine when you close your eyes, but that's your choice. I'd like to invite you to imagine the sights of this season, all of the colors, the red and green of Christmas, the gold and silver of decorations, the blue of Hanukkah candles, the twinkling of lights and how beautiful they are. I'd like to invite you to think of the smells of this season. Are there any smells that come with December? Maybe it's the smell of evergreens, of pine. Maybe it's the smell of wonderful things to eat, the smell coming from your kitchen. And thinking of those smells, imagine the tastes of this season. That spicy flavor of peppermint, cool and spicy. The sweet taste of Christmas cookies. And imagine, if you will, the sounds of this season. The sound of Christmas wrapping paper crinkling, the sound of bells ringing, the sound of joyful singing. And maybe if we listen just a little bit, we can hear that song of the angels singing us towards peace. But most of all, I invite you to think of the feelings of this season, the touch feelings of this season. The warmth of sweaters, of blankets, and maybe the warmth of the embrace of someone you love. A hand to hold. As we celebrate this, let us give thanks for the sights and the sounds, the smells and the tastes and the feelings of this season. And may we hold that love and warmth in our hearts. Amen.
It was a time like this. War and tumult of war, a horror in the air. Hungry yawned the abyss, and yet there came the star, and the child most wonderfully there. It was a time like this, of fear and lust for power, license and greed and blight, and yet the Prince of Bliss came into the darkest hour in quiet and silent light. And in a time like this, how celebrate his birth when all things fall apart? Ah, wonderful it is, with no room on the earth, the stable is in our heart.
going to sing a beautiful song written by Joan Newberry called On This Christmas Day. And I'd like to invite you to join us on the choruses, which are in the order of services. Let's just do one chorus to start. So, Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour of Christmas Day. Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour of Christmas Day. Snow falls round the manger, love melts it away. Greet the host of angels on this Christmas Day. When the lambs start speaking as they kneel down to pray, you'll find the peace you're seeking on this Christmas Day. Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour of Christmas Day. Here 3 royal strangers sing of a star obeyed, shielded from all danger on this Christmas Day. From the east they travel, a message to convey. The mystery unravels on this Christmas Day. Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour on Christmas Day. See the holy infant made from holy clay. What a lovely present on this Christmas Day, with just the perfect mother to guide him on his way. A baby like no other on this Christmas Day. Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour of Christmas Day. Alleluia sings the choir. Alleluia, come what may. Alleluia, every hour of Christmas Day. Thank you.
The poet writes, "And in a time like this, how celebrate his birth when all things fall apart? Ah, Wonderful it is with no room on the earth. The stable is our heart. The stable is our heart. I'd like to talk for a bit this evening about what it might mean to make our heart a stable, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The image of Jesus lying in the manger comes from the Gospel of Luke. A gospel is a story that's told to make meaning of someone's life and to share with us the wonderful lessons that their life teaches us, the good news of their life. And there were actually many, many, many gospels that were written to make meaning of the life of Jesus of Nazareth. A lot of people wrote gospels to tell us about the good news of his life. Of those many, many gospels, only four were selected to be included in the Christian Bible. And of those four, only two talk about the story of Jesus' birth. And of those two, only one mentions a manger. That's Luke's gospel. The Gospel of Luke tells the story this way. While Joseph and Mary were in Bethlehem, the time came for Mary to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in bands of cloth and laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn. And that's all the details that were given. The rest is up to our imagination. A manger, if you were wondering, a manger is a box that's filled with hay or straw or grain so that farm animals can eat out of it. So we might assume that if Jesus was laid in it, that farm animals were close by. We might imagine donkeys and sheep, maybe cows, maybe a horse. Our imagination adds the animals to the story. And we know that mangers are usually found in barns or stables. So that's what we'll imagine too. Let's imagine this together. Imagine what it would be like to be born in a barn, to be born in a stable. There are, of course, some things that would be bad or not that great about being born in a barn. You can imagine. It would be kind of dirty, probably. It wouldn't smell too great. It wouldn't be very comfortable. I think we can agree on all of those things. But a barn, a stable, might have a few things going for it. It's dry. It's warmer than outside, thanks to the animals in there. It's shelter. It's safe. And a manger filled with hay is at least a little bit more comfortable than the hard, cold ground outside. Maybe I'm reaching for positive things to say here. Anyways, we would all agree that a barn is far from perfect. Madeleine L'Engle's Christmas poems talk about children coming into a world that is far from perfect. The child, she writes, did not wait till the world was ready, did not wait for the perfect time, did not wait till hearts were pure, came into a world which did not mesh. Madeleine L'Engle describes a world with war and fear and greed and blight. And in a time like this, she writes, how celebrate his birth when all things fall apart? Ah, wonderful it is with no room on the earth. The stable is our heart. Which brings us to what I'd like to talk about, which is making a stable in our heart, of our heart. Because we all have the power to make our world a little safer, a little warmer, a little more comfortable than it otherwise is. We all have the ability to be that stable for another person that needs it. We might not be a 5-star all-inclusive resort for the other person. We may not provide that. We can be a stable. We may not be a fancy hospital for another person, but we can be a stable. I think of the work of our Immigrant Justice Initiative, since our offering this evening is going to support their amazing work. The Immigrant Justice Initiative looked out at our suffering in our world, and rather than feel overwhelmed or depressed or powerless or inadequate, they thought, well, we can be a stable. We can provide the gift of shelter, warmth, safety, and welcome. And it turned out that they could do a lot more than that, too. But here's the thing. We can't solve every problem or heal every hurt or guarantee a perfect future for anyone we welcome in. The stable is our heart. We do have some warmth and shelter to share. And that is enough. It's more than enough. Or I think of the service project at the Greening 3 weeks ago. I think of the dozens of people out in the commons just outside the doors to our sanctuary, gathering around, busily stuffing gift bags with items going to the residents of the Home Start shelter here in town. That's stable heart work. We may not be able to solve every problem, meet every need, end every bit of suffering, but we can share some warmth and comfort, and maybe just a little bit of gladness too. I think of our caring as a church. The stable of our heart reaches out with the warmth of a quilt, the comfort of a meal, the shelter of an embrace or a hand to hold. There's room for you. There's room for you in this stable, room for your pain and grief as well. There's room for you in this stable of care. The stable that we provide to each other and to our world is not perfection. We cannot wait for the perfect time. Our ability to serve one another, to care for one another, to help one another is not found in us having perfect thoughts or perfect answers or perfect strategies or perfect love. Our strength is found in our reaching out, despite the limits of our heart, to welcome one more, to provide shelter, to provide whatever shelter we can, to help meet the needs of the world. May we go forth this evening asking ourselves what the stable of our heart can provide to each other and to our world. And won't you join with me in singing on our third hymn of the evening? It is number 246, O Little Town of Bethlehem, and I would invite you to rise in body or in spirit as we sing together.
Little This is no time for a child to be born. With the earth betrayed by war and hate and a comet slashing the sky to warn that time runs out and the sun burns late. That was no time for a child to be born. In a land in the crushing grip of Rome, honor and truth were trampled by scorn. Yet here did the Savior make his home. When is the time for love to be born? The inn is full on the planet Earth, and by a comet the sky is torn. Yet love still takes the risk of birth.
I'd like to invite our candlelighters to come forward and begin making their way down the aisles. And I'm going to give a little, as we are getting ready, I'm going to give a little candle lighting instructions, which is that if the person who has the lit candle holds it straight up and the other person tilts their candle, that is the most effective way. And once you get it, you can pass down. And we're going to wait till all of the candles are lit and the lights are out, and then we will sing number 251, Silent Night. So I'm going to abandon my post here and start turning off lights, and I see that the fire is making its way around the room. The words of benediction are these by Howard Thurman. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, and when the shepherds are back with their flock, then it is that the work of Christmas begins, to find the lost and heal the broken, to feed the hungry and release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, and to bring peace among siblings, to make music in the heart. Go in peace, and Merry Christmas.